Hey, I'm Michelle Smith, and I love to give money away. I love supporting my vision of the world I want to see and help bring about. I love how donating money reminds me that I have enough to share, no matter how much that is. I love how giving money away reminds me that everything belongs to the source of life anyway. I belong to the source of all that is. Everything comes from that source, and everything returns to that unlimited source. When I give money away, I affirm that all of my needs will be met. And one of my needs is to contribute to the well being of others. So, as you probably know, today is Giving Tuesday 2025. It's a day in response to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, consumer spending days. And on Giving Tuesday, we're reminded and encouraged to make donations to nonprofit organizations that make life better and support our visions for the world we want to create together. This year, I'm challenging myself to make each of the remaining Tuesdays in 2025 a Giving Tuesday. So each Tuesday in December, I'm going to post a video about my giving practice because I want everyone to get as much joy from giving money away as I do. Anyone can be a philanthropist. It doesn't matter how much money you have. But the best way that I know to enjoy giving money away is get your vibe right, have a strategy, and feel all the feelings. So let's get started. Get your vibe right. Before you ever write that check, or who even writes check anymore? I don't. Or click the donation button, or even just hand somebody some cash, I recommend getting your vibe right. What does that mean? We all know that money brings up all sorts of stuff inside of us. In this culture, money is probably the main strategy for meeting needs for freedom, autonomy, choicefulness, security, even esteem and belonging and connection. And no matter how much money you have or you were brought up with, there was likely tension around the subject. I know there was for me, and of course, I can still get nervous about money. For me to enjoy giving money away, I need to get my mind and spirit and body aligned around my intentions. The quickest way for me to get my vibe right is heart-centered appreciation. So first, you take a moment to breathe and put your attention in your heart, like literally in your body, right here where your heart is. And just put your attention there. And now invite the feeling of appreciation for something that's easy to appreciate in your life. And then just keep doing that until you feel your energy shift. Notice I don't say, think about what you appreciate. I find that inviting the feeling of appreciation allows my thoughts to just automatically churn out things that I'm thankful for. It gets started and it's like a popcorn popper. It'll just suddenly, I'll just be filled up with effervescence of appreciation. And so when you feel your vibe shift, then invite the feeling of appreciation for the work of the organization you're making your gift to and how that work contributes to the vision of the world you want to see. Now, what about strategy? This has two parts: deciding how much to give and deciding where to give. Let's start with how much to give. I practice tithing. That's 10% of my income. I learned to do that a long time ago, and there's a lot of wisdom around that 10% and why that's a good number. Suffice to say, whenever I have income, whether it's from work or gift, I move 10% into a bank account that is reserved for tithes. Then, whenever I'm ready to give some money away, it comes from that account. Simple. This helps me make giving joyful because it's easy. And I do enjoy seeing that little tithes account accumulate. My little insecure part feels soothed as well because the money hasn't really gone anywhere yet. It's still in the bank. She's that part of my personality that worries about having enough, and she likes to know it's still there in case we need it. We never have. We always give it. But the fact of having a tithing account soothes that little part of my personality. So that helps make giving joyful as well. Now, what about where to give? To decide where to give, I love using Joanna Macy's Three Dimensions of the Great Turning. It's from the work that reconnects. And if you don't know who Joanna Macy is, go immediately to YouTube and learn about her incredible life and contributions. The work that reconnects is still being offered all over the world, and it's beautiful and it has helped change the world. But this graphic is based on her three dimensions of the Great Turning, which is a model for places and areas of life where we can act toward our vision for the world we want to see emerge. You see at the top, protecting the sacred. Joanna called these holding actions. That's feeding people directly, providing shelter for people who don't have a place to live, climbing up into the trees of an old growth forest to keep them from getting cut down, stopping the permitting of a wood pellet plant that is creating destruction and health problems in poor counties in the South, protecting waters, as we saw in the Dakota pipeline and other pipelines that have been proposed. It's direct demonstrations like drawing attention and filming people being kidnapped by masked bandits in ICE raids. So the organizations that are helping train and put those kinds of demonstrations together, sending medical supplies to refugees of Gaza or to disasters areas like Hurricane Helene, legal strategies for protecting the vulnerable or holding bad actors, accountable. So you see how protecting the sacred can encompass a whole wide range of activism. Okay, the next one is transforming systems and structures. Joanna called these Gaian structures, like Gaia, the earth. Gaian structures are the systems and structures that support and further life. My giving is pretty heavily weighted in this category because that's how my mind works. I see patterns and systems and I see how they're producing the outcomes we want or we don't want. So I like to give to systems level change. That's one of the things I like to support. Also, these organizations are often overlooked for the more direct action strategies, so I like to give them some love. These are the orgs that work on policy, for example, like getting laws changed or enacted. These organizations are experimenting with housing alternatives or creating networks to meet the needs over a complex system. They're working to transform our food systems. They're working on a large scale conservation of natural places that span local, state, and even national borders. These are organizations that are working to make organizations more supportive of life, internally as well as externally. These are the kind of nonprofit organizations that I think of in terms of transforming systems and structures. I like it. There's a lot of leverage there. Um, there's a lot of leverage to be made in terms of transformation by changing systems and structures. And then the third dimension of the Great Turning is paradigm shifts. Joanna called these shifts in consciousness. So these are orgs that are doing the work of shifting our paradigm from a belief in separateness to an awareness of our interconnection with each other and with the creation and with the divine, I might add. You don't need to believe in the divine to recognize our interconnectedness, of course. It's apparent in nature. Natural systems are diverse and interconnected, and they support a flourishing of life, and unnatural systems are monocultural and disconnected, and they harm life. So these are organizations that are doing mind-blowing science. Um, these are faith organizations that remind us of our interconnectedness, spiritual organizations that are transforming our perceptions and beliefs about ourselves and other people, civic organizations that are experimenting with forms of participatory democracy. There's a whole bunch of great stuff happening in that realm. Schools can be paradigm shifting spaces. I know they were for me. Some organizations work in ways um, to match two of these strategies, and sometimes even all three. So I've developed my giving priorities for years, decades even. So I pretty much have my list and my categories, but I do like to think about my choices within this framework so I can notice where I'm choosing to lean into the work of creating a world that works for all. And so I'm curious, which dimensions do you feel most drawn to support? And I'd love to know which organizations you support and how you see them fitting into this framework of dimensions. Okay, this is my first video for the next series of My Giving Tuesdays. I will post one video today about an organization that I give to, and then over the next 5 weeks, I'll talk a little bit more about the other organizations and maybe answer questions if I see any. Okay, thanks. Have a great Giving Tuesday. Go enjoy giving away some money.